Good evening, class. I am Alex Vo, and today I will be presenting my critical assignment for KIN454 Psychological Aspects of Sport and Exercise presentation. Without further ado, let's begin. Here's my link to this presentation on this slide. So selected target population and rationale. My selected target population are male weightlifters ages 18 to 25. There are a variety of reasons why I chose this specific population. For context, weightlifting is a sport that utilizes both power and strength to lift weights. It can produce significant physical and mental effects both positively and negatively. There are many different combinations of exercises that weightlifters can perform to increase their strength, power, or muscular endurance. This population is younger compared to other populations. Some people are just out of high school, are in college, employed, or reaching their mid-20s. So still specific, but a little bit diverse. A lot of people in this demographic can be in different phases of life, but the common factor that they all share is that they're young. So Latella et al. Studies the effects of factors determining relative strength amongst powerlifting and finds that male strength levels peak from the age of 20 to 49 with relative decline in strength, accompanied with age in the International Journal of Performance Analysis of Sport. What's unique about this population, again, is that they are at their strongest potential compared to older populations. This population is influenced by a variety of environmental factors that are social and cultural. Hurst et al. Conducted a study both on bodybuilders and weightlifters, finding that the desire to partake in either activity is associated with social physique anxiety, and individuals are socially influenced by the subculture of weightlifting and bodybuilding, and there is a dependence to the sport in the British Journal of Sports Medicine. This is an example of social factors influencing individuals to weightlift, which we'll be going more in depth in the next slide. Some personal context: weightlifting has been my most favorite hobby and sport that I've done in the past 8 years. I met a lot of weightlifters that fall within the specific population that we're discussing, made many friends, and have experienced a lot of different factors that have influenced my time weightlifting. I love weightlifting, and it is near and dear to my heart. Without weightlifting and the many different weightlifters I've met within this population, I would not be the person I am today. Next up, we have 4 areas affected by physical, social environments, and family culture. So first 2 are motivation and anxiety. With motivation, weightlifters can be extrinsically motivated by their physical environment. I listed some examples on each area. So keeping up with school, keeping up with the demands of school as a student may cause that weightlifter to be less motivated to weightlift. However, trying for a weightlifting scholarship can increase your motivation to weightlift. Long and demanding hours at a job can likewise decrease motivation to weightlift, whereas jobs requiring strength may increase motivation to weightlift. Socially, friends that share weightlifting as a common hobby can increase motivation, whereas negative social settings could increase motivation to weightlift as an emotional outlet. With family culture and loved ones can motivate weightlifters. Vice versa, if the weightlifter is a provider to a family, they may feel less motivated to weightlift to keep up with those priorities. And then we have Sheng and Yang. They studied the aftermath of burnout in weightlifters, promoting the importance of effective social support systems and increasing motivation to prevent burnout and frontiers in psychology. This shows a deep connection between motivation and social environments being very influential for weightlifting success. Anxiety is also a factor in influence. With the physical environment, prioritizing studying or work obligations may increase anxiety to weightlift as they focus on other areas needed. Socially, some jobs require heightened physical fitness, increasing the anxiety to weightlift, such as the police or firefighter or military. Family culture, loved ones can also set expectations. So Weinberg and Gold notes that individuals in high ego oriented environments lead to higher perceived anxiety and foundation of sports and exercise psychology. So this shows that competitive social and physical environments can increase a weightlifter's anxiety. Next up, we have reinforcement. With physical environment, weightlifters can be influenced by their past achievements in other areas academically or professionally, and this may lead to positive reinforcement. The success may encourage them to pursue even more goals and transfer over the success mentality to weightlifting. Socially, weightlifters may experience reinforcement from their peer groups, sharing a common interest in weightlifting, encouraging and providing reinforcement to improve upon techniques or defeats. Family culture can even play a part in reinforcement through encouragement of success, such as performance benchmarks in weightlifting. And then the last factor we have is competitiveness. With competitiveness, physical environment, weightlifters may feel influenced by competitive environments both academically or professionally, and can apply the same competitive mentality to weightlifting. Students may compete in college for grades or specific scholarships. Weightlifters in specific social groups may feel the desire to compete with their friends or peers in strength or power, increasing their competitiveness. Family cultures can also encourage weightlifters to increase their competitiveness to reach their goals as well. Popovich et al. Studies weightlifters' mental readiness in competition and promoted the importance of self-esteem and mental self-regulation for competition in the journal Physical Education Sport. So this data shows that building up one's self-esteem is a key component to managing negative effects of competition. So all in all, these four areas are all intermingled and connected with the physical, social, and family culture environments that this population is in. Next up, we have outcome, performance, and process goals. So here's examples. They're not pertinent to a specific individual, but they're a little bit generalized. So we have outcome goals. For short term, increase strength and surpass current performance records within 3 months. For long term, enter the 1,000 pound club in 1 year. With performance goals, they're more focused on actual strength and power. So short term, lift at least 225 pounds on barbell bench press, barbell deadlift, and barbell back squat within 4 months. Long term, lift at least 275 pounds on barbell bench press, barbell deadlift, and barbell back squat within 8 months. So it's a little bit of an increase from the 225 to 275 range. And process goals. Short term, training for power and strength safely and consistently 3 to 5 days a week. And long term, incorporate rest and healthy eating habits that prioritize muscle growth and recovery over the next 6 months. And then with these goals, next up we have strategies for goals. So with short term outcome goals, it's focusing on process and performance improvement to ensure increased strength and power and weight. And long term, building upon your strength increases obtained from weekly habits, as well as identifying performance records within 6 to 8 months to monitor strength increase trends. With performance goals, short term, continuing exercising with heavier weights, adhering to the strength, power, set, rep, load ranges according to your 1 rep max, and evaluate your 1 rep max once a month to assess for strength increase. Long term, continuing short term strategy of increasing loads, as well as challenging for heavier loads with strength increases. With process goals, short term, commit to weekly habits of exercising and prioritize days for training throughout the week. And long term, dedicate bedtimes, rest days, proper nutrition, meal preparation, and documenting daily nutrition in accordance to your basal metabolic rate and daily caloric expenditure. So next up we have the biblical theme of helping others live their purpose. Sports in general is very goal-oriented. People want to score points, beat the other team, be the best players, and in this case for weightlifting, be the strongest. By understanding sports psychology, we can help others achieve their goals. I quoted Philippians 2:4, not looking to your own interests, but each of you to the interest of others. So with selflessness, God calls upon us to be selfless and encourages us to help others considering their needs. To adequately help athletes or clients, we must understand how to help, and the concept of sports psychology show exactly that. If clients are feeling misfortune, stress, and trouble, it is our command to help those that are in need, whether that is in the form of positive reinforcement to preventing burnout. We essentially have a duty to help others in need, and understanding sports psychology allows us for tools to assist and help live their purpose and goals. Throughout this course, I have learned a variety of topics. When I was reading about the data pertaining to task and ego goal orientation, as well as positive and negative feedback, the topics reminded me of my own experiences in the military. Those that consistently compare oneself to others can suffer from perceived low confidence, but those with task goal orientations can focus on process improvement with much better results. I believe that this concept can not only be applied to sports psychology, but in all other areas of life as well, including the professional setting, which is something I would like to advocate to clients in the future. Additionally, positive and negative reinforcement both serve purposes, and not too much of one, or in too much of one is not the best, but rather a combination of both are the best. I personally know supervisors and all different types of leaders who focus too much on negative reinforcement followed up with consequence, and this can build up a fearful atmosphere inconducive to open communication for process improvement. And this can be applied to sports psychology and coaching as well. Another focal point was learning about the efficacy of imagery. I connected with this topic very well because I realized I used imagery in the past without even knowing it. My team was being evaluated for doing a blood transfusion on a simulated battlefield casualty, and I was told an hour before that I was taking the lead. I was stressed, anxious, and I knew that I hadn't done the actual procedure for quite some time, but right before, I took some deep breaths and ran through all of the processes visually in my head. And when it was time to conduct the procedure, we successfully accomplished it, and I was performing imagery. I controlled my emotional response, prepared for competition and problems, and I believe that this can also be applied to many other tasks in sports to deal with stress. Shooting a basketball amidst people trying to snatch it out of your hands, defeating your opponent in MMA, or even preparing for that heavy lift off a bench press. Last but not least, here are my references. This concludes my presentation. Thank you for watching.